All right, everybody. Welcome again to True Confessions of a Car Guy. We made it to episode number 2, and we want to welcome all of you and all of you guys listening all over the world. I was looking through some of the statistics, and we've got people in Brazil. We've got people, of course, in the U.S. We've got people in Australia, South Africa, Indonesia. There's car guys and car girls all over the world that are tuning in. And we want to thank you so much for the much anticipated debut and for all of your support. The video didn't even make it out of the editing room. The demand was so high for it to be released. And we thank you again for helping us bring in this new show. And before I introduce to you the host, we got to thank Huck. They got some great merchandise. They're a fishing company, but you know what? They have some very comfortable clothing and stuff. And I know, like, I like wearing it around the house. Unfortunately, I'm in the concrete jungle, so I can't be, I'm not outdoors too much, but it's very comfortable clothing. And I'm sure you would agree, John. I know you're an avid fisherman and enjoy their products as well.
Oh yeah, I'm on Lake Hartwell, Lake Bowen, Lake Jocassee all the time. South Carolina, weather's great, great fishing, and they got great clothing. So I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks to Huck. And then, like I said, we are joined. Who the host of the show is? His name's John Gavin. He doesn't really need an introduction. I know a lot of people have enjoyed your commentary and also your opinions on last week. It was a lot of great responses and support for Jimmy, and we're going to kind of continue a little bit along those lines and talk about some other stuff this week, and then hopefully next week we're joined by a guest.
Well, thanks, Badgie. I appreciate it. Hey, everybody. As much as I thought I had gotten through it, I read some more on Jimmy, and then we had such an outpouring of emails, probably over 50 of them, and comments, etc. I kept looking at this, and we're talking about a really good guy here, and we're talking about the government going after one guy, which I don't understand. Again, they went after the dealer, paid $20 million. Then they go after a guy personally for $214 million. The dealership doesn't seem to be standing behind him. And it's funny how if you look at all of this case, they use real numbers on a lot of stuff. Like they sold 9,700 cars or 11,975 cars, whatever it was. And they sold X amount of CPOs, and they use real numbers. But when it comes to the complaints, they always use numerous or scores of, never an actual number. So how many really were there? I don't know. I mean, if we start to have every dealer, every GM or vice president, or again, CEO, whatever it is at every store, because I understand this case, they got helped out by, I guess, Maryland jumped in. So they went after guys in Maryland too, but I don't know if they went after the guys personally. I think Jimmy's the only one they're going after personally, which is really upsetting. But if we don't have this fixed or somebody speak up about this, more people got to get involved. Let the politicians know this is not a great idea. They're talking about these people who got personally harmed. I mean, there's one section in here that says people are going to suffer. Was it here it is. They sold 11,178 used cars in 2022 and 8,800 in 2021. Jimmy did a great job. He sold 3,000 more cars, doing everything right, by the way. And I got 50 emails from people telling me what a great job he did and how it was to work for him. I'm actually going to read a couple of them just to let you know what kind of guy that it's not just me saying this. There's a lot of people saying this. But when I'm looking at this filing, it says there's verbiage in here that's really upsetting, where it says these people are suffering harm for the rest of their lives. What? You bought a car. We didn't have a medical procedure. We didn't take out your body parts. You bought a car. So I just don't get it. I mean, here's some of the stuff that these people are talking about. So now, because I've been in the car business so long, I happen to look at a lot of these, and I know a lot of these people, but they all reached out to the confessionsofacarguy@gmail website, sent in a bunch of letters, and this is just one, to whom it may concern. My name is, and I've known James Douvas for 2 years, and I can say without a doubt that he carries himself with grace and respect in everything he does as an employer. He genuinely cares of his employees and works tirelessly to support and guide them. His dedication to helping those in need goes beyond the workplace. He's also a pillar of support in his community. Furthermore, his love and devotion for his family are truly admirable and an integral part of who he is. That's one of the 50. I'm only going to read a couple, and these are people I don't know. Most of these people, I do know them, and I know their opinion already, but some of these people, I didn't even know them. And I've known Mr. Douvas for over 4 years now professionally, and I am proud to be a reference. I can attest that Mr. Douvas is a person of great character and integrity. He's always been a truthful, conscientious, and responsible person. Mr. Douvas is always willing to come forward to help those in need, especially if it has to do with family. So this goes on and on. I can keep reading this. Jimmy is not this guy they're portraying that was a money grabbing car guy who said, let's just take everybody's money, feed them to the wolves. Doesn't matter. Let's make a deal regardless of what it is. Take their money, crush them. That's just not how it is. I went through the last deals they did. Those deals were all great deals. Did they buy products after the fact? Yeah. If we let this kind of stuff happen to Jimmy, and this is where I need all of you to go to your friends and post what's happening to Jimmy, whether it be the case you can find online or this podcast, wherever. Just keep sending it out so enough people get to the public, because pretty soon, if this happens, you'll have car dealers who have to have malpractice insurance like a doctor does. Because if you can sue a GM for stuff that other people in the group have done that you weren't around, if it even happened, then we got real problems. It's like dram shop insurance for bars. They got to protect themselves. So what are we doing? We're going after one guy for, I think it's $214 million. We went after the dealer for 20. Well, why? It's like 50,000 in occurrence or something, and that they put in this document. I mean, to me, this just is all absurd. And I understand this case is going on right now, but you need some public outcry to say, hey, this is wrong on so many levels. Jimmy has done nothing wrong except do his job. And this is not good for the car business at all. If somebody like Jimmy can be convicted of something, what about the rest of the people who work in this business where it's open season on us? I mean, there's so much going on that, the car business seems to be under fire. Jimmy did nothing wrong. And pretty much I'm hoping he can win this in court and everybody stands up for him and helps him out. I mean, if it wasn't for, this vote last week, a couple weeks ago, now there's something different. I don't want to say so much about Jimmy, that I sound like I'm like his brother. I just think it's wrong what's going on with Jimmy. So I'm going to leave it at that. I need the rest of you to do the same and to voice your opinion any way you can to get a message to, is it Kwame? I think that's his name. Get to him that this is wrong on every level. You don't sue a guy for something like this. This is insane. But I was looking the other day at the Advanced Clean Car 2 program that just got voted down. Oh, by the way, didn't we get a whole bunch of, while I was reading the emails, I might as well say what people said online. If you don't mind, Badgie, would you read some of those comments real quick, if you wouldn't mind?
There was an outcrying of support from fellow car guys and car girls saying, that's standard practice. He's just applying to what, the dealership rules are for that, and addendums aren't illegal, like you were mentioning before. Have you looked at your cable bill lately? All the stuff that's added onto there. There's no outcry for cable bills, so it's something that's standard. Some dealers do not do that, some do, but there's nothing wrong. And there's been an outcrying of support. And there was one comment, I'm looking over him now. I've known, Jimmy over 20 years, and I've known him to be a stand-up guy. Never in no way would I ever have I ever seen or encountered him, being or acting that way. And there's even a customer of his who says they've bought 4 cars from him over their lifetime, and in the same way they've been treated in a professional manner.
He's got like 40 people like that have done that, and what generation after generation.
And there's no one. None of these responses, and they're right there publicly on YouTube. You can read them yourself under the episode number 1. Not one of the comments that are on there are bad. And you would figure, I've never met the guy. I don't know him personally, but just by reading the comments and seeing the support, it's overwhelmingly, in his favor. And there's, like I said, there's nothing wrong in that. And he's following what, that's their guidelines that they have for how they, sell cars and price cars. And it's not his day, because it's a big corporation. It's not a small time, corner lot doing it. So
speaking of that, I forgot to bring this up. So they paid out $20 million, which it says that they were supposed to reimburse these people who were affected. I'd like to see that list. Then it goes on to say that they penalized the group. From now on, they can't advertise anything except for they have to advertise anything they add except for government fees. So it's okay that we got to pay a dock fee. We got to pay, I guess Chicago's at 10% tax now. And then your license plates have gone up every year that I can remember. It's okay not to talk about that with the customer, but you got to tell them if you got a Xylon or a mist or a warranty. You got to put all that in your ad. So I'd like to see that list of people that they paid out. That's what I'd like to see. So, but I'm going to let it go at that. Anybody, all you internet, people who are Facebook and all that stuff, do some hashtag free Jimmy, hashtag Jimmy's innocent, hashtag Jimmy's the best, would you? Because he's a good guy, and this is wrong on every level. Anyhow, getting back to this Advanced Clear Car Act program. So I think it was last Thursday or something. What they were trying to do was, back in August of 22, they passed this. It was, I don't know if it was a law, because they don't call it a law, but they call it a program. And this program meant that by 2035, we were supposed to be 100% electric vehicles. Well, it was something like this. So 2026, 35% all new cars sold were electric. 2020, by 2028, 51% all electric vehicles. 2030, 68% all electric. And then by 2035, we're supposed to be 100% electric. Well, let me tell you something. I own an all electric car. I own an Acura ZDX. I'm not bragging. It's a fucking electric car. I own an electric car. There's no way that you can have an electric car in Chicago, Minnesota, New York. If you got a real job, I'm retired and I drive maybe twice a week. Fish off my dock. I go on lakes from here. And even when I drive, I don't take my electric car because I'm afraid I won't make it back. I got a Toyota that I drive. So, but it got cold here in January and February, which it normally didn't, but whatever's going on, it got cold. And I went from 80% down to like 60 and 40, like that, driving 30 miles. Could you imagine living in, let's say, Libertyville, driving to downtown Chicago for your job, one of those below 0 days, and then you got to go back. Most of these cars only get 250 miles. And once it gets cold and you turn on your heat, your radio, anything else, they just drop like a rock. So electric's great. I've been to a gas station 8 months. I love it. But it's only for certain people. You can't have 100% of the country. I like how it says, and they had ads about this too. There was reporters asking people, because they're full of shit too. The reporter asking a lady, one of the interviews is, so what do you think about the Clear Act? Oh, I love it. I think it's a great idea. I think that's where the world's going. That's what we need. Now, this is only in California, because California has 10% of the population. So they get to do some things that the rest of the country doesn't. But people follow suit from there. So they're interviewing the lady. Oh yeah, this is great. I think it should be done everywhere. It's a news clip. You can find it if you look it up. Do you have one, ma'am? Oh no, I don't. No, I couldn't afford one. Of course you can't afford one. They're priced up the ass, first of all. And they're very impractical. Do you know I have yet to find one of these public, or I don't think they're public. They're probably, besides Tesla, who he does a hell of a job. Since 2024, all the 220 lines or plugs, whatever you want to call them, they all match the Tesla line. Tesla, he didn't do anything wrong. He tried to help, tried to find all the bullshit we've been paying out. But anyhow, the Tesla is the only one I can find that worked, but you only get I think it's 20 miles or 10 miles every 5 minutes. I forget what my car, I think, is 10 miles every 20 minutes or 5 miles every 10 minutes, something like that. So think about that. Who the hell drives just 10 miles anyhow? You got to sit there for about an hour just to get 50 miles. Well, how many do they have? If we're all electric, where are we supposed to go? It boggles my mind that they tried to pull this off. And we just could have been in so much trouble as an industry because, like I said, it's a great car. If you're retired, you live in a warm climate like I do. It wasn't fun in January and February, and it was still, the coldest it got was like 18 degrees at night and 40 during the day. And it still made me nervous. I couldn't go up north. I didn't want to go into North Carolina. I go fishing sometimes up there. I don't want to take the car up there because if something happens, I'm done. What do I do? And that's a 220 line. You're talking about 110. It would take me all night to charge this car when I would plug it in on a 110. I had to have that 220 line put in. So you're going to tell me the average person's going to have to put a 220 line in every household to charge their car, and then they're going to overwhelm these sites. It's just never going to happen. Never going to happen. It never should have happened. Thank God that government we have right now kiboshed it, because we could have had some real problems down the road.
I know there were a lot of nervous car people. I mean, like I said, I'm in a dealership in a day-to-day basis, and it was nerve-wracking trying to see that, and even CEOs of companies were saying, this is unattainable what they wanted to do. And if you look at, take a guess, John, which state in the U.S. is right now, and what percentage, and what state is number one as far as EV sales?
It's probably got to be Illinois, is my guess, or California would be. But California would be my
guess. It's Oregon, and it's at 9.
Oh, that's right. What did I read? Go ahead.
Oh, it's Oregon at 19%. It's not even California. I think California is second or third, right behind, but it's not even California. And I think it was it would have been definitely a big blow to the auto industry. And I'm glad that in this case the lobbyists were able to get their point across, and it was a victory for the auto industry. And that now, automakers can be at ease, because now you're starting to see BMW's coming out with the gas motor, turbo motor. You're seeing Chrysler, Dodge coming out with one again. So maybe now that they can have more gas offerings, because, and I've changed my mind. I used to not really think, much of the electric, but this past 7 days, I've seen 4 people buy electric, and all of them are over 65 years old.
You
And I'm
have
like,
to be. You can't have you can't work a
well,
40-hour week of commuting in traffic and keep the car charged long
and
enough.
also, now, and another angle that I've seen too is, Tesla was the leader in this. They're the ones who came out with it, but now you have better products. You have, like, for example, Cadillac. You drive one of those electric cars, man. They're absolutely stunning and beautiful. So now that people got kind of used to it, you can go like to an Acura, to a Cadillac, to all these
Yeah.
options that are more luxurious. So you have more options, and so there's definitely a place for it, and there's definitely a clientele. But to push that, I believe, propaganda and stuff on everyone, I'm glad that it got voted down, and so now, now it's up to the EPA to set some standards and guidelines that are probably more achievable in the future.
Well, Elon, and I was going to say poor Elon, but I would never say that because the guy's, he's not, but he got kind of screwed here because he was trying to help someone. And I know I'll get 50% of people say, no, he wasn't. Please. So he found a lot of waste and all this, and all they did was burn up his car. And then, of course, the media turned it into, well, his sales dropped. Well, yeah, a little bit, but there's also what you just mentioned. The competition for that car is doubled and tripled since. I mean, everybody's coming out with one, but you brought up a good point. The average customer, I don't know the facts, but I would say they're over 60 and the car is usually over 50 grand. So, or maybe even 60. I told you, I've been in the car business 45 years, 46 years. I don't know shit about cars. I don't know how much they cost either. I just know where you're supposed to price a used one. I can't help you really on new except how to get a good deal. But that being said, people couldn't afford these cars. How are we going to make these affordable? There was one person I think they interviewed had common sense, and they cut him off in the middle of the interview. And he says, oh, there's definitely a place, but I don't know enough about it because of the battery. And that's all they said. And they stopped it. And I was like on channel, I don't know what channel, I'm not going to say it because I was just listening to it because I was curious about what people were thinking in that state. And it's not a feasible option. It just really isn't. So
yeah, it has its place, and I have turned around. Like I said, it has its place, and people buy them because, like I said, Tesla paved the way, and now you got. Sometimes these people, I see them, they're like, "Wow, this is even a step up." So it definitely has its place, but to push those mandates and to push that, I think it's unattainable.
Bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
Even like you would say, more progressive CEOs were like, you know what? This is very unattainable, and I'm just glad cooler heads prevailed on that, and that hopefully now, everyone's on the same playing field, and that there's no exception just because you're the state of California. Now that everyone's got to fall, under the guidelines that are set on the federal level.
I think there was 9 states that were all on board, all blue states, of course. And Oregon was one of them. Illinois was one of them, and so on, Maine or something. But, I'm all for the hybrid. I think hybrids are great. I own one of those too. My wife drives a hybrid. Great car. I mean, I think I had a Hyundai hybrid maybe when they first came out. Like I said, I forget every car's name, but the Hyundai hybrid I had, the Sonata. The blue. It was I love that car. And yeah, my car now is 500 horsepower. So yeah, if I jump on it, oh my gosh, I did jump on it today and I had coffee cup sitting here. If I didn't put my hand on that coffee cup, I would have wore it because I saw it start to move and I stopped with the top of my hand. But 500 horsepower, yeah, it's great, but it's not for everybody. You just can't do that. We need to be able to sell to the masses, which we need cars, we need sedans. I know people are getting away from sedans because everybody wants to be higher up and they want to be able to see. So we're going to sport utilities, but it just, electric, everybody, not a good thing. Not a good thing at all.
Just to give you like a price point, of some of these vehicles, like Cadillac just released Like they have an Escalade that's an electric Escalade called the IQ. That's $135,000 starting price. The next car below that, it's called the Vistique. It's like their largest, the step down largest SUV. That's starting at $81,000. That's not, something that's.
I bet it's an amazing car too.
It's absolutely stunning, but it's not for everyone. It's not for the common guy. It's for those people that want electric and also want to have that luxury. But it's costly as well. And there's another element to this that actually you get these rebates now that are going on, especially through ComEd, that you can apply for. And I think that's something that we can talk about maybe in the future, but I think it might open up a can of not good things as far as people trying to monopolize or misuse those rebates.
I'm already seeing it because I told you I get a lot of referrals. I've already gotten them on the Hummer. I've already had a whole bunch of people call me on the Hummer who are getting, I think it's 36 grand from ComEd, and can I get them a Hummer? Can I get them the GMC Yukon Hybrid? I've had probably more calls this month about that than I have in the last, because I've been retired out of the car business for a while, in the last 2 years. So yeah, no, it's and it's definitely being manipulated, but God bless them. Good for them, I guess. So I want to talk about something before we finish off. So I'm talking to an owner yesterday, and he goes, I got a salesman. Guy does 20 cars a month. He does good gross. But he shows up late every single day. I don't know what to do with this guy. And I said, well, what I'd probably do is Michael Jordan rules. I mean, when you got a Michael Jordan any guy who sells 20 cars a month, it's a big job in this business. Here, let's rewind 25 years ago. I had a guy, let's just call him John, and his name was John, but I won't say his last name. He sold 30 to 40 cars a month. I had another guy sell 20 to 30 cars a month. They would only show up between the two of them a whole week, between the two of them. One of them, I would have to go. I didn't even pay either one of them on Friday. I would give them their checks on Monday. That's the only way I could get them to be there for Saturday. But they would, between the two of them, I would think they would work, like one would be there Monday, Tuesday, and they weren't like conspiring to do this. They were drug addicts, but they were my Michael Jordan. So one, I walked into the bathroom and he had a needle in his arm, and I startled him. He pulled it out, shot blood all over the bathroom. It's like, oh, this is great. The other guy, I had to go peel him out of his apartment. He was looking underneath the door. He was looking underneath the door to see who it was. He was so paranoid. So, hey, I told him, it's Michael Jordan rules. If the guy does a great job for you, I'm not saying, it's a hard one, because everybody else says, well, this guy's late all the time. I used to say, well, this guy sells 20 cars, or 30 cars, or 40 cars. You get to that, you do whatever you want. I know there was a guy at Schaumburg Toyota. I'm not going to say his name. There were two guys. These guys did 40 cars a month. They were beasts, and they worked their own hours. But I told you gotta, when you're in the car business, everybody, gets jealous of that guy. If I'm the owner, I want 10 more guys like that. I mean, the last place I worked at did volume, it was open 10 to 8. I think those are good hours for a car dealer. Now, how many will do it? I don't know. But that gives a salesperson a real life almost, because, you're open 9 to 9. Saturdays we're open till 7. That's a new one. 8, some till 10. Then you throw in a midnight madness once a month or whatever that is. These poor salespeople, they work like crazy. You got a guy or girl doing 20, 30 cars. Who cares when they get there? Just keep doing it. I don't want to know. You just do what you're doing. Give me those cars. When that drops, though, and you're not coming in and you're not doing what everybody else is doing, then we got a problem. So to all you 20 and 30, if you're going to do this, be smart about it. Don't let everybody know you're doing it. Just your bosses. so that nobody will complain. Anyway, if anybody's got any stories, please send them to True Confessions or go to our website. What's the website now?
I forgot to mention it at the start of the show. We just actually yesterday, the website has been officially launched, True Confessions of a Car Guy. And you can go there and you can leave us a voicemail. It's very easy to do. You can go on your phone or you can go on a laptop or a tablet. You can leave us a voicemail of a story, or if you want to be on yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll reach out to you and see if it's a good fit. Or you can also email the show at confessionsofacarguy@gmail.com, or go to the website. It's launched. You can also go, we have our YouTube channel where you can see all of the comments and all of the videos and other media on our YouTube channel. And also for the professional, the business professional, you don't even have to be a car guy, but if you go on our LinkedIn page, we created one where we can connect with other car guys on the LinkedIn page. So spread the word there, spread the page. You'll get updates on the LinkedIn page, and also you can also find maybe a network with someone who's also in the car business. So, we want to get the word out. This is a unique show. I think it's also unique timing because there's a lot of you can call influencers that are out there now in the car business talking about the car business, each doing their own thing, and that's where I drew the inspiration on the technical side, and obviously the idea coming from John. And so, now, we're trying to bring this to life, trying to share it with everybody, and we need your support doing it. And I think we're off to a great start.
You know what I did have an influencer who wanted me to pay him. So what I really like for y'all to do, and again, I don't do this for monetary reasons. I swear it's not about that. This is just about having fun and talking about stuff. And I'm going to have some really great people. I got a guy from New York coming on maybe next week, or another guy from Chicago beyond. But take the show, repost it on your own site, your own Facebooks, your LinkedIns, whatever you got, just so I can tell this influencer to go fuck off. Okay? Please. Until next week, it was great talking to y'all. Have a great rest of your week. Thanks, Badgie.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, you can follow us online, trueconfessionsofacarguy.com. The website's been officially launched. Until next time, we will see you soon.
Adios.